What's going on, everybody? Another episode of 4x4 Camping and Adventures. As you see over here, the Bullbar is now on the car. So I went with the Ironman Bullbar. The reason I did this is mainly because I did like the look of the bar, and the guys down here in Esperance gave me a great deal on it. So yeah, it was a good deal around, and I think the car looks fantastic now with the Bullbar on. So I believe it's now time to install the winch to test, which is obviously the 1200 pound winch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a full video on how to install the winch on that Bullbar, and show you some little tips and tricks. I'm in my garage, as you would know, and the reason I'm in my garage, I'm going to show you a little trick that you can do to install the Bullbar yourself, because obviously I've only got myself here, and yeah, it's going to be a little bit of tips and tricks along the way, and talk a little bit about the Bullbar as well. But essentially it's just the commercial deluxe bar from Ironman, which is winch compatible, and yeah, it's pretty basic bull bar. I went with the black because obviously I've got the black roof rack, so just wanted to keep that black theme, and I'll probably go with black rims as well. Might spray paint them black as well, just so I've got the black and silver theme going with the whole car. I'm actually really happy with it. I'm going to put a hinge on the front number plate just for water crossings, that kind of stuff, so it doesn't rip off the number plate. But beyond that, I'm pretty happy with the whole Bullbar setup, and the guys at, I think it was A1 Autos in Esperance, they did a fantastic job of installing it. So let's hop into installing the winch into that Bullbar. One thing you can struggle on if you've got a shed like this with a roller door like this is, you can probably see my car is not going to fit in here, but I do have a little simple trick. Because I do need this shed to actually take the Bullbar off. So I'll give you one simple trick to make sure you can actually fit this car into this shed, or if you want to fit your lifted car into your shed. So watch this next trick, and with the magic of editing, we'll make this car fit into this shed. Alright guys, 5 seconds, get your tire deflator. I've got my trusty old 2-year-old Ridge Ryder tire deflator. Putting down 10 psi, and you've lost about 2 inches of your lift. So other benefit of this is I've got to do the EGR clean, which will be another video, and now I can actually get into the bonnet a lot easier. If you've got a lifted car, working under the bonnet, I'm 6'2", I'm actually quite tall. Working under the bonnet of the car is actually a pain in the arse. So, because you're generally leaning over everything, so, and being a Triton, it's got a very tight engine bay in the first place. So lowering the tyre pressure to the front actually gives you less lift, and it makes it a lot easier to get into. So now obviously the bonnet's at actually my hip height, so I can actually just lean over the actual bonnet and get in there. So that's my tip to, well, I suppose get a lifted car into small areas where it doesn't belong. So yeah, let's bring it in, and we'll get started and pull this Bullbar off and chuck a winch in there. Here we are in the garage. Just fits. Obviously you can see I've done this before. So first of all, I'm going to remove the number plate. I'm going to go through the tools obviously we're going to need to make this happen, because there's a fair bit involved, and there's a few bash plates and that kind of stuff underneath we need to take off first, and then there's obviously the bolts that hold this onto the chassis, and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to make this actually come off with one person. So you probably can't see me, but there's a big trestle above me, obviously for the frame of the actual shed, and I know this weighs, I'm going to maybe 100 kilos or something. So what I'm actually going to do is get some ratchet straps, which are rated up to 500 kilos. So I'm going to put the ratchet straps around the actual trestle, and what that's going to do is actually hold the weight of the Bullbar as I take it off, because obviously when you do this normally you have 2 people, and they obviously fiddle and try to get it right, and then they lift it off. So what I'm going to do is actually have it held up, and then I'm actually going to pull the Bullbar off without actually, I suppose, needing a secondary person. So yeah, I'm going to try this out and see if it works, and if it works, happy days. If it doesn't, I'll have to figure something else out. But let's get into it. I'll show you these tools that we need. Okay, so first things first, obviously I'm going to use ratchet gun. I just got to just get the bolts off the bash plates, and in here gonna need sockets. Gonna need the old sockets something to jimmy them all off, and I think that's going to be about it. I don't think we're going to need electrical stuff because all the electrical stuff on the unit. Probably need an extension. I'm sure that's probably going to need that. We might need a pry bar. We'll get one of those. That's probably going to be about it in there. Hammer, just in case. And I'm probably going to need some of these ratchets, or these ratchet spanners. So I'll grab a couple of those, but I might leave them in here for now so they don't get all over the place. And I think that's about it. Cable ties, I might leave them alone because I don't think you need that. I've got a big shift bar, so I won't need that. But this is pretty much what you need, guys. Let's move this camera. Alright, so this is what we're going to need. Got to get me ratchet gun. That makes life easier with bolts. Shifter, that's just to get behind something if I need to move some things out of the way. Sockets, going to need those. There's lots of bolts, and I'm just going to use a couple of shifters and that kind of thing, just in case. And obviously I can use a adapter to make life easier if I need to get into somewhere. Hammer, just in case, and the rest of it. Now, something I do want to show, which is pretty cool, is this guy here. This is actually a torque wrench. So it's a different take on the actual torque wrench. So this unit here, I haven't actually used it yet. I'm going to use it for this particular application. But what you do is you put your socket or whatever in this side, obviously, and you put your device in this side. Just give me 2 secs, like that. And then you put your socket on the other end, and you turn it on. Put the your torque spec that you actually want on there, and a little screen obviously shows where you're at. And when you're adjusting it, it'll actually make a buzzing noise, and you're at the torque specification. So I'm pretty keen to use that. I reckon that's pretty cool. It's a different take on the torque wrench made by Tool Pro, so I'll give that a go. Picked that up a couple of weeks ago, so with that comes in a handy carry case. Because I needed a torque wrench and I had this big shifter. I didn't really need to go buy another big shifter, so I bought this, and yeah, I'll see how that goes. So different take on the torque wrench. But they're pretty much the tools you're going to need. If there's anything else, I'll let you know in the video, but they're pretty much the things that I'm going to use in the video. And I think we're going to get pretty safe with most of these things. You're probably going to need a little socket set to under the battery and that kind of stuff for the winch, but we'll get into that at the end of the video when I'm wiring it all up. Alright, next step you want to do is remove these bash plates. They're sort of like underbody plates. They're obviously all joined together. So first off, you want to take off the middle one in this particular case with the Triton, because these are actually bolted into it. So remove this middle one, which is sort of like a radiator guard, I think, and then remove these. I believe they're just little 10mm bolts, so that'll take 2 seconds with the rattle gun, and we'll smash them off. Once we're done with that, we'll be able to get access to these lovely big bolts in here. Alright, so hasn't got weird in here, but obviously I've got 2 straps coming from the roof holding this bull bar up. So, as I was saying before, I just wanted to touch base on this. I haven't got anyone to help me here do this, so essentially what I'm trying to do is keep the weight, as I undo the bolts underneath, I'm going to keep the weight from obviously falling down. So I've got these, and a little bit of tension, nothing major. So I'm not trying to lift it up or anything, I'm just trying to make it so when I reverse the car out, this is going to stay in place, and then obviously I can fit the winch in, so it's right in front of me. And if I need to, I can lower it down, that kind of thing. If I need to, lower it on the ground. But I think this is probably the best way I could do it in this situation, with no one to help me in this situation. But I reckon this is the best way I can do it. It's either going to work or it's not, so we'll see what happens. But now it's obviously the 3 bolts on each side, and this obviously just comes out, and then I can start fitting the winch. So as you can see, I'm pretty excited because then I can do a winch video, which is going to be pretty cool as well. So let's jump into it, eh? Alright, here we are. So next step of the bull bar removal. So my trick worked, which is great. So I've been able to take this bull bar for one person. So essentially all you need is a like a girder or something above you. You can actually hang it off. So at the moment it's just hanging there. So what I'm going to do now is just reverse out, and pretty much they have full access to the back of this, whereas obviously where the winch goes. And I should be able to mount it all up, mount the control box, all that kind of stuff up, then re-bolt it back in. Once it's re-bolted back in, yeah, essentially I can run over the wires and that kind of stuff through. I'm going to wire them underneath so it's all nice and neat so you don't see any wiring, because I like to make sure things are neat and tidy. And cool thing about this is when you're taking it off, obviously when the bull bar gets weight on it and starts putting weight on a bolt, it will start bending the bolt down. So obviously when you try to take if you've ever taken a bolt off before, if you take it off with weight or stress on it, you'll start threading or de-threading the actual bolt. So what you can actually do is once you get that point where you know it's getting a little bit too much weight on it, you can just ratchet it up a little bit and take all that pressure off it. So it makes life a hell of a lot easier. So these are quite easy to take off. You just take off your 2 bash plates and the center bash plate, or the guards, and there's 3 bolts between the actual bull bar and the mounting bracket on the chassis. So yeah, it's pretty easy. It's just 3 bolts. I believe one was a 17mm with a 19mm. So there was a 19 and a 17mm, and all the other bolts were 13mm. So yeah, if you've got a particular car, those are the sizes you want. But I'll reverse out and yeah, we'll put this winch on. Hello, and there we are. So now I've got full access to the whole bull bar. So I wouldn't like to do this myself because you know, this would be a fair bit of weight. This is actually quite heavy because it's a steel bar, not an alloy bar. And yeah, so pretty much now it's a matter of mounting it in this. Obviously I'll get a different angle because at the moment the angle is not that quite good. Obviously for we're trying to make a video about mounting a winch. But I'll get a different angle and we'll mount this winch up and yeah, we'll be ready to rock and roll. So here we are, next step. Now, we're going to make sure everything's mounted properly. We're going to run the cabling obviously through here as well. Obviously that goes on the outside. But I want my clutch, so the clutch here, to be fairly easy access on the actual unit. So I'm going to mount it because there is going to be eventually LEDs and that kind of stuff on here, or I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do the front yet. So I don't want anything to be in the way of the clutch. So you do have 2 access points under here, but they're quite small, but I can fit my hand in there, so I might not have to worry about that too much. But essentially, winch goes on like that. And I believe this one here, this just bolts underneath, so it's nice and easy. So what I might do is just check on, just for myself, obviously the spool out, yep, so spool out obviously is this way, so that's fantastic. So obviously you want it to be spooling out that way. Another thing I think I want to check as well is how long these cables are. I think they're going to be good enough to get to my actual battery, which is good. I don't think I need to move that. I reckon that's going to be pretty good. I don't think I'm going to foul on anything on the car side of things, so I think we should be fine. May have to do a little bit of trimming, I'm not sure yet, but I reckon we might be pretty damn good. So, and this little trick I made with mounting this bull bar off the thing gives me like perfect hand view, and I can just work on it in this space. So we'll get this mounted on, and yeah, let's get it all going. Alright, so to mount the winch, pretty easy. You obviously get these bolts with the kit. Now, there's little holes in here which you've got to slide these bolts into so they can't actually move, and you can actually slide in the whole unit. Now, mine's a little bit annoying because my rope is a little bit too much on this side, but that's right, I can get the first one in. So, line everything up, we've just got the guide underneath, and they obviously just slide in there like so. There will be a torque specification for these, so I'll put that on the video, just on the actual screen, because I don't know what it is actually yet until I actually have a quick look at the manual. Because yes, there is torque specifications and that kind of thing for these. So pretty much once you've done this and you've got it all mounted and you've torqued everything up and all that kind of stuff, you're pretty much ready to go. So you've just got to obviously mount all the other stuff up and then mount the clutch up, that's not the clutch, the actual control box up and all that kind of thing. And once you've mounted all that sort of stuff up, you're pretty much good to go. So got me a little torque wrench here, and it's actually quite a tricky little device because it might be a little bit bad in situations where you know, you need a little bit of space, but for what I'm using it for, it's actually quite good. So what you do is if you turn it on, mount to the bolt, and then it's got a little readout on there that tells you actually how much torque you're putting onto it, and it makes a little message. So if you listen, so that's torqued. So yeah, cool little device. Just re-torque all the rest of these to 40 and we'll be good. Alright, so now we're at the point where the winch is fully mounted, all torqued up, it's in there. We're obviously going to mount this guy at the front, run the wire through there. There's a couple of bolts obviously for this guy here which go through, so that's nice and easy. And a couple little bolts here which I'm assuming go for the actual mounting plate for the control box. So we'll put that, I'm not sure if we're going to put it in the engine bay or have it on the front. I might put it in the engine bay just out of the weather, so, but I'll work that out as I go. But we'll mount this guy up and yeah, keep going. Alright, so this guy goes in here, winch cable goes through obviously, like so. And it just goes in there nice and easily. So essentially what you want to do is get these bolts. So you want to run it through this unit here. This is the tricky part because everything starts getting really tight and you haven't got much room to move. But obviously the trick is get one mounted, then you can sort of use that as leverage. Or not, there we go. Let's get a bit of torque on that. Get it. And the second one. So this is the tricky part. Now I've got to go through, as I go behind, like so. So once they're all torqued up, you move on to the next bit, which is mounting the control box. Alright guys, you can see a little bit of trimming needs to be done, just obviously through here. So I'll just trim that up, just so it's not touching anymore, because it's just touching there, just needs a little bit taken out. But there's obviously nothing under here, that's just all plastic, and once that goes, we'll be good to go. Alright, so here we are. Trimmed away. It's literally I've just trimmed it to the edge of the unit. Oh, there's a bit of metal crossbeam obviously here to support the number plate and that kind of stuff. And I'd say it's probably just it's just to support the actual front bar. So I'll just clean this up because obviously it's got a bit of a rough edge on it and that kind of thing. I just wanted to trim it off and probably just do a bit of a test fitting and all that kind of good stuff. So once that's all test fitted on there, we should be good. I should have now enough clearance. So yeah, if you're in this situation, you probably just need to be a little bit tricky with how you're going to mount it in. But yeah, it should be now enough clearance to get away with it. So I'll mount up the push up the car again and see how she goes. Okie dokie. Next step is to mount this control box, which I'm going to chuck. I was going to chuck in the engine bay, but that's not going to work because it's just a little bit too tight. So I'm going to mount it right here in the middle of my bar. and that's going to give me easy access to get the remote out. So what I'm going to do is run the wires. Probably the easiest way of running the wires, I think, is down this sort of grommet here. There is a grommet there. I'll just bring the camera down a touch. Just through this grommet here, and then I'm going to go back and then through the engine bay. I believe these cables should be long enough, and they give you a fairly long cable with the Ridge Ryder winch. So obviously this is your power. Power going to your red. Your black is your negative, obviously, and this. Where is it? Where we go here? So red. So there it is. Now find it. Yellow to the actual winch, and then there's a red cable obviously that goes to the power. There's another red cable that goes to the actual winch itself, and a black cable that goes to the winch, and obviously the rest goes to the power. And this guy here, I might have to check what that does, but I'll find out that later. I had to make a little bit of space for the actual clutch, so that fits now. Everything fits nice and neat. It was a bit of grinding away and that kind of stuff, but I got there in the end. But I'm just going to mount up everything before I actually mount this onto the bull bar, because I just want to have it all free so I can actually move around and that kind of stuff. So that's next step, mounting up the box. Alright, so if you're at this stage, you're pretty much done. So got it to fit. Bit of fluffing around with the connections and that kind of thing, but we got it all working, which is good. And clickety clickety clackety clackety works like a charm. So pretty happy. Finally got here. It took a little bit longer than I would have expected, but it was just a little bit of trimming and that kind of thing, which took a little bit longer than expected. But in the end we got there. So yeah, it's a little bit loud. I'm not really familiar with winches, so I don't know how loud a winch is normally. So I'm going to give it a go and give it the old test out this weekend and see what happens. And look, I'm pretty happy with the whole setup. It was pretty easy to install. Just a little bit of trimming on my end, but that's obviously just to fit it, because it's quite a big winch. It's a 1,200 pound winch, so it did need a little bit of love and a little bit of persuading, I suppose is the right word. And we got here in the end. So got this mounted here. I'm going to mount some spotties on here as well. I know more spotties, but long distance pencil beam spotties at the front. So they will fill up the gaps, and yeah, beauty, all there, ready to rock and roll. This has been another episode of 4x4 Camping Adventures. If you like this video, hit me a like. If you always want to see more of this stuff, hit the subscribe button, and you'll see plenty more of this stuff coming through. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.